In CI News this week, more abortions are taking place in England and Wales than ever before. Open Doors World Watch List 2026 records unprecedented levels of persecution against Christians. And a win for nurses in Darlington as an Employment Tribunal rules that an NHS transgender policy is unlawful. Hello and welcome to CI News on the 16th of January. I'm Anna Prodan. More abortions are taking place in England and Wales than ever before. Government figures show that in 2023, which are the latest figures available, abortions increased by 11% on the previous year. This took the total to over 278,000 in England and Wales over the year, a rise of 36% in just 5 years. More than 3,200 abortions were carried out because the unborn child was deemed to have a disability, including 735 following a diagnosis of Down syndrome. The Institute's head of communications, Angus Saul, said we should be grieved by this news.
These figures are absolutely harrowing. Everyone who values life across England and Wales must surely be grieved at this dramatic increase in abortions. These are not simply statistics. Each one was a unique human life created in the image of God, and that life was snatched away before they could even take a breath. A spokesperson from the British Pregnancy Advisory Service reacted to this news by saying there is no right number of abortions. But this just demonstrates that abortion providers will never be satisfied, no matter how many unborn children are killed. The right number of abortions is none. Things are only going to get worse if the extreme proposal currently going through Parliament to decriminalise women who have abortions at any stage of pregnancy becomes law. We desperately need to change the way society views children in the womb so that we turn away from this culture of death and instead celebrate life.
The persecution of Christians across the world has reached an unprecedented level. Open Doors World Watch List for this year reports that 388 million Christians globally are suffering high levels of persecution for their faith, 8 million more than last year. North Korea, Somalia and Yemen remain the most dangerous places in which to follow Jesus. Speaking at the report's parliamentary launch, Open Doors CEO Henrietta Blythe branded sub-Saharan Africa a death trap for Christians and attributed Syria's dramatic rise on the list to security vacuums, fragmented governance and local extremist groups. UK Special Envoy for Freedom of Religion or Belief David Smith urged those gathered, including over 100 MPs, to speak up for those who live in fear because of their faith. Creating explicit deepfake images of people without their consent is set to become a criminal offence. The Online Safety Act already outlaws the sharing of such material, but the Data Use and Access Act will now criminalise its creation. Ofcom is currently investigating social media platform X following reports that its AI tool Grok has been used to undress women and children. Although X has now blocked such activity in countries where it is illegal, Ofcom could fine the company up to £18 million, or 10% of its qualifying worldwide revenue, if it has already breached UK law. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cautiously welcomed X's move, but emphasised that the UK will not back down. We will strengthen existing laws and prepare for legislation if it needs to go further, and Ofcom will continue its independent investigation. The number of people buying Bibles reached a record high last year, according to Christian publisher SPCK. Analysis of the number of physical Bibles sold showed a surge of 27.7% last year, the biggest on record, and a 106% rise since 2019. This comes as some are hailing a quiet revival across the UK. Sam Richardson, CEO of SPCK Group, said the increase in Bible sales is evidence of a significant cultural shift regarding matters of faith and religion in this country, and that as we face social and political change, individuals are re-engaging with questions of meaning and spirituality. He suggested The significant and sustained upward trend in Bible sales suggests that more and more people are investigating the Christian faith themselves and seeking to draw their own conclusions about its truth. And finally, an employment tribunal has ruled that nurses in Darlington were discriminated against when they were forced to share female-only changing rooms with biological males. County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust's policy Transitioning in the Workplace asserted that if female nurses were uncomfortable getting changed in front of a man, they should find alternative changing facilities. But the tribunal found that the policy violated the dignity of the nurses by creating a hostile, humiliating, and degrading environment, and said the policy is not lawful. Bethany Hutchison, one of the nurses involved in the case, said the judgment is a victory for common sense. Women deserve access to single-sex spaces without fear or intimidation. Forcing us to undress in front of a man was not only degrading but dangerous. Today's ruling sends a clear message. The NHS cannot ignore women's rights in the name of ideology. To explore these stories and much more, visit our website christian.org.uk and be sure to subscribe and follow us across our social media channels. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed weekend.